Ishikawa, a long-time resident of Berkeley, although I am originally from Japan. But I go back and forth between here and Japan. But my children grew up in Berkeley, and they're all Berkeley kids. Before I go, may I ask, how did you hear about this information? How many saw the newspaper, the Berkeley East Bay Express? Thank you. How about posters that was put out? Okay. How about the cards that have been handed out? All right. Thank you. Because we have to know what's the best way to make known this kind of event with a very limited budget. So we put our own money into it. So we try to have as efficiently as possible. With people here who have heard from the people who know about it, or from your friends, acquaintances? Okay, thank you. All right, humanity at the crossroad. Brilliant future or total destruction. It sounds ominous, doesn't it? Perhaps most of you have seen the exhibit here in the lobby. Who haven't seen it? Okay, all right. Most of you have seen what we have presented here. We are really at a crucial turning point. Which way to go? Which path to take is a really serious question. If we don't make a conscious decision and go on the path of greed and competition, totally immersed in material comfort, it will inevitably lead to the total destruction of our civilization, because we are now capable of destroying the entire life on Earth with the touch of a button. And the world situation is so ominous, so chaotic, that no one knows what will happen. Or do we change our direction completely and take the path that leads us to a saner, fairer way of life, where everyone can live in peace? We have to make a choice. Now, you may wonder, that's all very abstract and theoretical, but it really doesn't relate to our everyday life filled with stress and competition. But I'm sure you came to hear this talk because you're interested in the bigger picture beyond your own personal daily life, or because you're concerned about the health of the planet, or the future of our children, grandchildren, generations to come. Or you're concerned about the millions of people suffering from poverty, starvation, terror of war, and terrorism. Whatever they are, I would like to present you or share with you the information we have, which may be difficult for you to grasp or to understand because it may not be in the framework of your experiences or knowledge. But I would like you to listen to me with open mind, if that's possible, till the end, and then make your own judgment, make your own evaluation of the authenticity of this information. Before I go on, and I'm sure you saw it very briefly, over there, the source of my information is Ageless Wisdom Teachings, which is not a religion nor a philosophy, strictly speaking, nor an art or science, but it synthesizes all of those disciplines. It is the accumulated wisdom of all ages. And it also introduced the fact of the existence of the group of highly evolved beings who are behind the scenes, guiding and overseeing the humanity for thousands of years, which was not known until then. These teachings were first introduced to the Western world by H.P. Blavatsky around the late 1800s and the Theosophical Society. And then later by Alice Bailey and Helena Roach. When the teaching was introduced and made available to the public, the intelligentsia of the West at that time were greatly influenced. It was a revelation to them. The people who were influenced by this teaching included Albert Einstein, Thomas Edison, T.S. Eliot, Yeats, P.H. Lawrence, or Paul Gauguin, Paul Klee, and Gustav Mahler, and so forth. It was a revelation to the Western world at the time. But more importantly, the information that I base today is from a British artist, Benjamin Creme, who has been the source of further revelation of Asia's wisdom, in particular the emergence of the teacher for the age of Aquarius, the New Age. Benjamin Creme has established a moment-to-moment, two-way telepathic contact with his own master, a master of wisdom. I'll explain what that is a little bit later. He's not a medium or an ordinary sense of a channeler. He can obtain any information he needs to do this work from his own master at will. But he never claims to be a master himself or a highly evolved person. And he never confuses us by presenting information from his master as if they're his own, which is quite different from many other channelers that I hear. And I have closely worked with him over 30 years. And I can assure you his authenticity and his sincerity. When I first learned this information in 1980 by reading his first book, The Reappearance of the Christ and the Masters of the Wisdom. Well, the reappearance of the Christ, first, I wasn't too enthusiastic about it, but and the Masters of Wisdom, I took a look at the book. I was not familiar with the Ageless Wisdom teaching at the time, and Benjamin Creme, is a student of Ageless Wisdom teaching, and many of the terms and the words they used were not familiar to me. My educational background is political science with the focus of developing nations and world peace. But as I read through, the Christ's simple message really appealed to me. He said, sharing the world resources is the key to solve the problems of the world. I thought even as a political ideology, it made sense. However, it sounded too utopian to think that the Western nations, the developed world, will share their wealth and resources with the rest of the world. But then I thought, if it were true that the beings of the caliber of the Christ or Vita were to return and inspire and guide the humanity, it could be possible to create a sustainable and fairer world based on sharing and justice. So I responded to his call, his appeal, to make known his presence in the world and to create a climate of hope and expectancy. And here I am, 35 years later, I'm still at it, unwaveringly on my faith and the presence of the Christ in the world. And of course, People say, well, you've been saying the same thing all these years. You and Mr. Kremer and all your group have been saying the same thing. Where is he? When do we see him? The world is getting worse and worse. You see terrorism, war, violence are spreading throughout the world, out of control. Inequality and social injustice are systemic. Ecological despoliation increase day by day. The planet is threatened by pollution, climate change. So what happened? People are impatient. They have to be able to see. But when you look at the world, you see what's been happening for the last 30 years. The change is happening at a tremendous speed at every level of human activity. The more you are aware, the more you look, the changes are happening daily. And the speed of change is increasing very, very rapidly. For some people, change for good. For some people, change for worse. But depending on where you are, either way, change is happening all over the world. Maintaining the status quo is no longer possible. The old order is crumbling. The economic and financial systems no longer work. No matter what the governments try to do, always just putting out the fire, but nothing fundamental changes, and nothing works for any period of time. Economic disparity between the rich and poor are so large, so big, it's unreal. Can you imagine? 1% of the world population possess and monopolize the wealth of nearly half of the world wealth, and the rest of 99% of the world population are at the bottom. This is unthinkable and intolerable, and yet it is happening. And we are at a loss. We try everything. We demonstrate. The people's voices are getting louder and louder, demanding for basic right human relationship, basic needs, the fairer, more equal society, the justice. Sure, in the history of the world, we have seen lots of demonstrations, lots of natural disasters, war and terrors, and each time humanity has managed to survive. But the present time is not like any other time. We are on the verge of a systemic change, and there are very, very significant, important causes behind what's happening in the world now. Why is it so different from the previous era? They are cosmic in nature. There are three main factors causing the profound changes. One is that we are in a new cosmic cycle. I will explain more about it. And then secondly, the new teacher has come to point the way for the coming age. And the brothers and sisters of our other planets in the solar system are gathering to help humanity now, more and more. Those are the three major issues that are causing the changes and why it is so significant now. Now, first, cosmic cycle. This solar system, our sun, makes a journey around the heavens in relation to constellations and zodiac. It takes approximately 26,000 years to make one complete around. And for at least 2,150 years or so, the solar system come in alignment with a particular constellation. the past 2,000 few hundred years, we have been in alignment with the constellation Pisces. And then now, as our sun moved away from Pisces and into the alignment with the constellation Aquarius, we say we are entering in the age of Aquarius, or we are in the age of Aquarius. What is not known in general is that while we are in alignment with a particular constellation, we become recipients of the energies streaming from that particular constellation. The different qualities of energies affect our consciousness differently. The main changes is taking place in our consciousness. As we responded to the influence of the energies of Pisces over the last 2,000 some years, humanity as a whole developed and demonstrated the quality of individuality together with idealism and devotion. Idealism enriched people's mind and led to the birth and the spread of religion. Also, desire for knowledge, desire for travel, and trade led to the development of science, education, communication over the last 2,000 years. You can see a dramatic change from 2,000 years ago and now. The development of individuality, however, was, according to the master, was the greatest gift of Piscean age, but in the course of 2,000 years, the misuse of individuality became the greatest danger and threat to the humanity. Because overemphasis on individuality, coupled with devotion and idealism, we have created a world filled with division and competition. People became devoted to one's own religion, one's own ideology, one's own belief, one's own family, one's own country, and so forth. We are totally separated and divided among ourselves. Now we are in the age of Aquarius. We are under the influence of constellation Aquarius. The Aquarian energies pouring into our planet while the Piscean energies are withdrawing. Quality of the new energies from Aquarius is synthesis and unity. During the next 2,000 years, we will manifest the ideals that we have developed over the past 2,000 years into the physical reality, such as brotherhood, love, justice, freedom. At the moment, they only remain in our heads, in our mind, and nobody will dispute that's a bad thing. Everybody thinks, well, it's a good thing. But nobody even imagined that could be actually manifesting in the world as a whole. But whether we like it or not, it'll happen because our consciousness is influenced by those energies, and our desire for cooperation, for justice, freedom, all those ideals that we have developed over the past 2,000 years, we want to manifest what Christians called the kingdom of God on earth will become reality. When you come back into the world again, in maybe even 200 years from now, the world will be a totally different place. Even 20 years from now, it will be a very different place. The tremendous schisms and problems we are facing now is because those two different kind of energies are influencing the humanity, both of it, about the equal strength. Those who respond to the old Piscean energies focused on greed and competition, personal gains, so much to lose their power and wealth. And those who respond to the new energies of Aquarius, the synthesis, unity, cooperation, good for everyone, especially the young people and the children who are born now, who are coming into the world, they will be equipped to work with the new energies of Aquarius. Now, next one, this at the every beginning of every age, towards the end of every age, new teacher has come on the law of cyclic law. They are known among others as Hercules, Hermes, Rama, Mithra, Vyasa, Krishna, Confucius, the Buddha, the Christ, the Muhammad, some of those names. They came into the world to show the humanity of that time a new direction for a new age. Humanity has created religions around the teachings of those teachers as soon as they left. Priests and theologians interpreted their teachings, built temples and churches, separated themselves from the teachings of the other teachers, each claiming their teacher to be the best and the highest. Competitive, individualistic attitude of the Piscean age. They ignored the continuity of revelation. That is, each teacher gave his teachings on the foundation of the teachings given by the teachers before them, and in accordance with the level of the development of the consciousness of the masses of humanity at that time. Humanity did not stay on the same level. We have developed, our consciousness have developed, our masses of humanity are no longer like the way they were 2,000, 500 years ago. And we need a new teaching that will fit with our own awareness and consciousness. This age, as we enter into the age of Aquarius, is no exception in history. The teacher for the age of Aquarius has come. According to Benjamin Gray, he has been in the world since 1977, but not openly. They are working from behind the scenes. He is working from behind the scenes up until recently. The teacher for the age of Aquarius is the world teacher for this age of next 2,500 years, or the age of Aquarius. He is the one awaited by the Christians as the Christ, by the Buddhists as Maitreya Buddha, Krishna for the Hindus, or Kalki Avatar they call, Imam Mahdi for Muslims, Messiah for the Jews. According to the Ageless Wisdom teaching, these are different names for the same being, the world teacher for the whole of humanity. And his personal name is Maitreya. This time, teacher came not alone, but with his group of masters, the masters of wisdom. Masters of wisdom are highly evolved beings who have completed their journey on this planet, but they remained on Earth to help and guide the humanity that are following. We are all on the journey of evolution. We are all on one level of the journey, different levels, different places. Those masters have lived in the remote mountains and deserts for thousands of years and overseen the evolution of humanity, and that is why they are not known. They are not seen in the world. But they have mainly worked through their disciples, men and women in the world. Some of the people who contributed greatly to the culture and civilization of the planet Earth, such as Socrates, Plato, Mozart, Beethoven, Leonardo da Vinci, Einstein, Mahatma Gandhi, Madame Curie, Charles Darwin, Galileo, Lincoln, Churchill, Roosevelt, and so on and so on. Those are disciples of one or the other of the masters of different levels. They, of course, did not claim to talk about esoteric wisdom and so forth. They worked in the field they were in. This time, for the first time in 98,000 years since the Atlantean era, the masters themselves are coming into the world openly. And at the head is their leader, Maitreya, the world teacher. This is a tremendous opportunity for humanity. In the past, only one of them came into the world to show humanity the new direction. They left profound effect and lasting effect in the humanity. And they were able to come because of the way that we have developed ourselves, our awareness, our consciousness, even though it doesn't seem that way, but compared to some 1,000 years ago, we have come to the point where masters are able to come into the world and work with the humanity together. In 1976, 1 year before Maitreya himself came into the world, 5 masters came into the world in a physical body. 1 in New York, 1 in London, 1 in Geneva, Switzerland, 1 in Darjeeling in India, and 1 in Tokyo, Japan. Later, 2 more masters came into the world, 1 in Moscow and 1 in Rome. We were informed that there are 14 masters in the world in a physical body now. However, none of them is claiming to be the master publicly. They were hidden behind the scenes, working very hard, but behind the scenes until their leader, Maitreya, the world teacher, introduced them to the world openly. And then they will work openly as masters with humanity, as well as Maitreya, the world teacher himself. Another event that's taking place, huge gathering of UFOs from other planets is taking place. They are here to help humanity get out of the profound crisis facing us now. Although the governments of the world have denied the reality of UFOs for so long, that there is no, and also they claim there's no inhabitants in the other planets of the solar system. People are becoming more and more aware of their existence. In fact, there is a close communication between the masters of this planet, Earth, and the masters of other planets. They work together. Ever since humanity developed nuclear bombs after the end of the Second World War, it has become a serious concern for other planets in this solar system. Nuclear radiation released from the Earth affect the space. Therefore, space people from Mars, Venus, Jupiter mainly are coming into the world, watching over and checking our planet carefully. Benjamin Graham's master says that they have been working tirelessly to clean up the radioactive pollution as much as they are allowed. They have the technology to neutralize radioactive matter. However, they can only do so much to help us within the law of karma. We owe them tremendously, and yet we even ignore them, or oftentimes we say they are evil and so forth. There's no sense of appreciation, no sense of recognition. Master says, if it weren't for their help, this planet would have been too polluted to live safely by now. Even though they were able to clean it up a little bit, still they have done tremendous work for us. And they're still willing, and they're willing to offer all kinds of help, share their technologies as soon as humanity is ready or worthy of their help, meaning we abolish war. Now UFOs are increasing their activities on our planet. They're careful not to frighten us, but are making their presence known more and more obviously. The sightings of UFOs are increasing more and more throughout the world. Don't know if you can see it. This is some example according to the recent. This was the UFO seen in broad daylight in Bogota, Colombia. According to the recent National Geographic Society poll, 36% of Americans, some 80 million, believe UFOs do exist. Only 17% do not believe them. And the rest, 47%, are undecided. Of the 36%, 10% of them believe they have seen UFOs. I'm sure here some of you must have experience of seeing something like that also. You hear at every place, yes, I've seen it, and so forth. Another way the space people are making their presence known is through crop circles. Large, beautiful, mysterious designs have been appearing in various grain fields all over the world, especially concentrating in southern England. As you can see, they're huge, often the size of a couple of football field put together. These patterns are created by bending the grains, as you see it, gently. Yet those grains are not broken or destroyed. But I'm informed that the DNA of their cells are altered. A British crop circle researcher, Professor Michael Berkeley, states that crop circles have been recorded in more than 50 countries over the past 30 years. They are shown, they appear in the grain fields, on the top of the mountains, even under the sea. He says the crop circles are so exquisite and painstakingly precise and made in seconds in absolute silence that it is unthinkable that it is done by humans, even though governments, the British governments also, try to deny that they are created by UFOs, space people. The media often exaggerate, well, they're some of the few people who claim that they have created it, and media plays it out. Government sometimes apparently pays the farmers as soon as the crop circles appears overnight for them to cut it down. They are trying everything to ignore the existence of the UFO. Professor Glickman continued to say a superior intelligence, more evolved than us, was gently pushing love letters under the door to humanity. He writes in his book called Crossroads, The Bones of God. This photo captured a spaceship hovering over a field about to create a design. This is, according to Benjamin Krause, a UFO from Mars. We are told the designs are created in the minds of the crews in advance and instantly recreated on the props as the craft comes down over the field. So, what is Maitreya, the world teacher, like? He is the embodiment of the love of God, the Christ principle. He is also a colossal cosmic avatar, great being. In addition to his own as Lord of Love, he is assisted by the Buddha with his light of wisdom, also by the great cosmic avatar, spirit of peace or equilibrium. This being brings in the energies that work on the law of action and reaction. They can turn violence, conflict, strife into its exact opposite, karma, peace, and harmony. And those are the energies that are working and affecting our consciousness. Another great being, cosmic avatar of synthesis with tremendous power. This energy protects Maitreya. And by working with Maitreya's energy of love, it engenders spiritual will, the will to good, goodwill in humanity. And you see that's happening all over the world. More and more people of goodwill are seen working towards the betterment of the humanity, of the world, of the society. At the same time, he is a friend and brother, eldest brother of humanity. Maitreya has a colossal task ahead. Unlike what he came 2,000 years ago through Jesus, he taught, he now needs to work with more than 7 billion people in the world, a highly developed communication and transportation network. The masses are individualized, far more educated and articulate than those of 2,000 years ago. According to the Master, there has never been a being like Maitreya who is so well equipped to inspire and guide the humanity into the new age. Maitreya is not here to establish a religion or gather devotees around him. He says he has come to teach the art of self-realization, S with capital S, God realization. He says this is neither an ideology nor religion and benefits people of all religions and none. He says, I belong to everyone. So how do we recognize such a man? There are so many self-claimed Christs, Maitreya, prophets in the world. How do we distinguish the true from the false? For myself, what resonated in my heart were his concerns and his love for humanity. When I wrote from 1977 to 1982, my trade world teacher gave a series of 140 messages through Benjamin Creme at his public lectures in London. When I read, and those messages were transcribed and published in the book, the messages from Maitreya the Christ. When I read these messages, when I read them even now, I am moved by the simplicity of his words, his concern for humanity, and his humility. He calls himself as a simple man and asks to allow him to take us by hand and lead us into the world where no one lacks, where no 2 days are alike. The Master says, Maitreya seeks to invest each individual life with sanctity and worth. He seeks to rid the world of violence and war, hunger and poverty. There are millions of people today in the world who are literally starving to death. Parents must watch their children die because they have nothing to give. This is happening in the world where there's abundance of food in the developed nations, often wasted and rotting away. The gap between the rich and poor is widening at an insane rate. Maitreya, in his message, talks about this. He says, throughout the world, there are men and women and little children who have not even the essential to stay alive. They crowd the cities of many of the poorest countries in the world. This crime fills me with shame. My brothers and sisters, how can you watch these people die before your eyes and call yourselves men? I need your help. I call on you to aid me in my task. How can I stand aside and watch this slaughter, watch my little ones die? No, my friends, this cannot be. Therefore, I am come quickly among you once more to show you the way, to point the path. These messages struck very deeply in my own heart. Maitreya's another concern is the health of this planet. He calls for the immediate action to restore the health of a dying planet. Our air, water, soil are hopelessly polluted. We do not have much time left to save this earth before we reach the point of no return. The recent IPCC report, the Intergovernmental Panel for Climate Change report, states clearly, for the first time actually, that we only have 15 years to contain global temperature rises to below 2 degrees Celsius. The Master has been saying that for a long time, that we do not have much time. And yet, the carbon dioxide emission from burning fossil fuels are still rising so too fast. The 10 nations of the world are responsible for the 70% of the carbon dioxide pollution in the world. Of that, 55% is generated by 2 countries, the United States and China. Master stated in a recent article in She International magazine. The She International magazine is the magazine that they publish every month, and Master Benjamin Graham's master contribute article to this magazine every single month. It is a very unique magazine. He stated in a more recent article in the magazine, he said, the most important problems facing this generation is the ecological imbalance which threatens vast areas of Earth. But he also says the forces unleashed by global warming are now well beyond the control devices available to man. That's where space drives are going to help us when we invite them to please help us. Because it is already, Master says, beyond what humanity is capable of stopping this increase. It is really ominous. Can you imagine the nations of the world come together and cooperate to reduce the pollution and restore the health of the planet for future generation without powerful help in Maitreya and the Master's wisdom? Even the present government administration is saying, by 2050, we will be able to contain the carbon dioxide only half of what we have. There's no time left. There will be no point of return. In fact, the Master says people are not even aware of even more dangerous pollution than carbon dioxide. He said the nuclear radiations from nuclear power plants are the most dangerous source of pollution for human health. And they must be abolished immediately. Master Benjamin Graham has been saying that over 30 years. The nuclear power plant have to be abolished immediately. The governments of the world don't even have a way of dealing with the waste of the nuclear power plants. Aside from the nuclear power plant accident that happened recently in Japan, Master says the nuclear radiations are constantly released from the power plants all over the world, contaminating air and water and soil. They are accumulated at the level that our scientists cannot measure on the what's called the etheric plane. Our science only recognizes 3 levels of physical plane: solid, liquid, and gaseous. But then, based according to the ageless wisdom, and more recently, astrophysics are saying there are more levels above the physical level, in the physical plane. They call it black matter, black energy. But there are 4 levels of etheric physical plane. And those nuclear radiation are accumulating on the etheric physical plane. And that affects directly our human health, because every single one of us overlapping over this physical body is etheric body. And what happens on the etheric body in turn affects our physical body. It manifests on the physical body. When the etheric body is affected by the radiation, in time it manifests on our physical body, because they are connected between the etheric, what we call nadi, and our nervous system. They're connected. Master says more and more younger people will suffer from Alzheimer's disease, and that is a direct result of the nuclear radiation. Maitreya says sharing is the key to solve the problems of the world. Everything. He says, peace, justice, and sharing are central to my teaching. Peace is most important in the world. Without peace, there will be no more world, because humanity has created the most dangerous weapons that can destroy all life on earth. There has never been a time when humanity controlled such destructive force, Master says. Maitreya says there will be no real peace in the world without justice for everyone. Until justice reigns, there will never be true peace. When millions starve in the world of plenty, there is no justice. Injustice is a major cause behind the threat of terrorism in the world. When there's justice, there will be peace in the world. When there will be no justice without sharing the resources of the world. When we share, we opens a door for trust. When we trust one another, when nations trust each other, there will be no need for war. No need to spend billions and billions for weapons. Only a fraction of the money spent on arms can easily provide all the basic needs of humanity. Maitreya says regarding the sharing, he said, humanity really doesn't understand the importance of sharing. He says, sharing is divine. It underlies all progress for men. When you share, you recognize God in your brother. This is a truth, simple, but until now difficult for man to grasp. The time has come to evidence this truth. By my presence, the law of sharing will become manifest. It's so simple, sharing, but we just do not understand the profound importance of the idea of sharing. In our mind, sharing immediately in America, especially, oh, that's communism, that's socialism. No, the sharing is divine, he says. Sharing doesn't mean that we share what we have extra to others. Sharing means sharing the resources of the world. What is in the world belongs to everyone on this planet. And we share according to the needs of every nation. And everyone will have enough to survive, enough to sustain its physical body, the right nutrition, right food, and right healthcare, proper healthcare and education and housing. Those are the essential, basic principles that all governments of the world eventually will manifest. Right now, there's no government in the world to fulfill those main essential needs of humanity. Well, Benjamin Graham has been informing the public for some time that Maitreya would appear on the television network to be interviewed as a first step of his public appearance. And at the beginning of December 2008, Share International issued a press release informing the world media that brilliant star-like luminary object of tremendous power will appear in the sky, heralding the public appearance of Maitreya on major TV network. Now, this is a replay of the story of the star that guided three wise men from the east to Bethlehem at the time of the birth of Jesus. Stars don't move that way. It was a UFO that guided the wise men to Bethlehem and stopped about the place where Jesus was born. This time, Maitreya has invited 4 stars from Mars, Jupiter, and Venus, and one other. And those stars are being seen. The reports began to come to the International ever since 2009, the beginning of 2009. These are only a few examples of Maitreya's miracles. They are published in International Magazine in almost every issue, because they come and they're also on YouTube, all over. These UFOs, the miracle star, Maitreya's miracle star, changes colors, shapes, and move around whichever way. When you see it with your naked eye, but more easily you can see through your lenses or video cameras and so forth. So you can see them moving. And each time the report comes to International, Benjamin Graham asks his master, is that Maitreya's star? And yes, he says. Or sometimes they're different from other scout UFOs, scout ships that you are seeing. They are seen all over the world. This is a very pretty one that showed near the moon. It was appeared in Norway. They're gigantic spaceships. Each ship is as big as 5 football fields put together, according to the master. They're not the same as other scout ships, which is much smaller. Enormous spiral lights with its glowing center was seen over northern Norway in December of 2008, and then again in 2009, similar spiral was seen in Australia. They are very widely reported by Australian media at the time. This is an interesting one. It was seen over the dome of the Rock on Jerusalem Temple Mount, showing a glowing light hovering over the dome of the rock. It hovered around for a few minutes and suddenly shot up and disappeared. It was caught by a number of people on the videotapes and shown on YouTube. This area is heavily guarded and no air traffic is allowed in the vicinity, so it could not explain that was the airport. So, heralded by the miracle stars, Maitreya's public TV interviews began in 2010. Interview began in the United States at first, and then he went on to Mexico, and then Brazil, and Russia, and China. He is still in China. There was a period of time he went to Middle East, working to contain whatever he does within the whole Karma, working with those Middle Eastern places right now. He's working, and then went back to China again for interviews. When he was in the United States, he was not interviewed on one-on-one, but apparently was one of the members of the panel in the major network. But he did not appear as Maitreya or the Christ or the world teacher, but incognito, as an ordinary man, as one of us, talking about the sharing of justice. When we were told Maitreya appeared on television in the United States, we tried to look for all over the network and so forth, but in the United States there are hundreds of TV networks. And then Benjamin Graham told us, instead of wasting your time looking for that, make this information available to the world. Get out there and inform the public about the presence of Maitreya. And so we stopped watching. But when he went to Mexico, Brazil, apparently some of those interviews are one-on-one. Master describes Maitreya's TV appearance as this way. He said, in starting his open mission, the great Lord must tread carefully, not to frighten away those he seeks to help. Therefore, a quiet note, but heartfelt, should be looked for. With every week that passes, the words and thoughts of Maitreya resonate in the minds of millions of people who know not the source of these inspiring ideas and hopeful concepts. By the time he went to Russia, his tone has become much stronger and a greater urgency is expressed. Master says, now Maitreya is presenting his audience the alternatives facing humanity to continue on the present senseless and greedy path to oblivion, or to see the world as one, as brothers and sisters, and share. Only sharing and justice will give us the peace we all desire. Now, we often ask international people ask, what is the response of the people in Russia, in China, in Mexico, Brazil? Master says, well, they're mixed. Some people respond to his call without knowing who he is. And then some people are afraid of what he is saying because you have so much to lose. So the apparently response is still mixed. But because he's saying this open, voicing, even though he's still incognito, his influence in the world is tremendous. He brings in the energy of love. Energy of love really is not like what we consider as like a lovey-dovey love. Those are kind of love, I would say, but the energy of love really is neutral, and it is a sword of cleavage, it says in the Bible. It separates son to father, brother to brother. It separates people depending on the motive of each person. Those who are motivated for the wealth and the greed and competition, more power, violence, they're stimulated. At the same time, those who have the motive to do good for the world, to work towards unity, cooperation, betterment of the world, they are being stimulated. And therefore, there's no in between now. It is very clear to see which is what, to enable us to make the choice, to be clear which way, which side we stand. Also, to back up his emergence, there are miraculous signs flooding the world. Master says there will appear a series of signs which will mystify those who experience them. No one will be able to explain away this phenomenon, but it will presage a change in the thinking and understanding of men. From that time onwards, a sense of expectancy will break most nations, which will prepare men for the extraordinary event that are to come. Some of those miracles, you probably see it in the lobbies, or we just quickly go through. Those are manifested each time. Benjamin Quinn asked, is this authentic? Is this manifested by Maitreya or by Jesus and so forth? This was an interesting one because Maitreya manifested this dove when a visiting ecumenical patriarch was in procession on the grounds of a Greek Orthodox Christian monastery. Pure white dove landed on the large holy gospel he was carrying and stayed there while the patriarch venerated the gospel. And the dove then perched on his hat, and as the procession went into the monastery and spread its wings, resembling the iconic depiction of the Holy Spirit familiar to all Orthodox Christians. This is a baby boy born to Christian mother and a Muslim, the one on the left, clutching their Holy Bible, Quran. And the one on the right, baby girl, was born to Muslim parents in Niger with prayer beads around her neck, which was witnessed by several women attending the birth. This happened in China, at the monastery, the Buddhist convent in China. The mushrooms are referred to as auspicious cloud by those at the convent who believe they are a good omen. This photograph was taken during a Christian event at Cedar Falls, Iowa. It shows an angel appearing on the stage in white, surrounded by red glow. The photo was taken by a Southern Baptist pastor attending the all-male Promise Keepers conference. He took 2 photos on his iPad as the band was playing Jesus, Take All of Me. You can imagine how shocked this pastor was. Maitreya will soon present himself to the world as he really is, as the world teacher for all humanity. That day is called the Day of Declaration. That day is coming very, very soon. He's hastening to emerge publicly, openly, because the world is in such a very dangerous situation. Much more dangerous than we, humanity, imagine, the Master says. On that day, television of the world will be linked by satellite, and we will see by then already familiar face on the screen, but he will not speak. He is omniscient and omnipresent. He will establish telepathic communication with every adult in the world. He will also overshadow the entire humanity and call for building the world based on sharing and justice and brotherhood. He is the embodiment of love, and his energy of love will flow into the hearts of everyone, invoking a heartfelt response to his call. And at the same time, on the physical plane, thousands of people will experience miraculous healings within their own limitation of their karma and their pain. In those 3 ways, we will know that this is the one we have been waiting for. The Christ, the Buddha, Imam Mahdi, Krishna, world teacher, or whatever name we call him. The Master describes the reaction of humanity of that day of days as beautifully seen for the Master. There is no time. Past, present, and future take place simultaneously. He is watching the world as we, based on the cause and effect. What we cause, what we plant the seed, we reap the result. And we see, the Master sees what's happening in the world on the day of the Declaration and how reaction of humanity is like. He writes it very, very beautifully. And here, let me read you a few passages. Man, of course, he means man and woman, the people. will awaken to a new situation, one altogether unfamiliar and strange. No one anywhere will have heard before the thoughts broadcast on that day of days. Never before will men have heard the call to their divinity, the challenge to their presence here on earth. Each singly and solemnly alone will know for that time the purpose and meaning of their lives, will experience anew the grace of childhood, the purity of aspiration, cleansed of self. Many will know for the first time that they count, that they matter in the scheme of things. An unfamiliar sense of self-esteem will replace their present hopelessness. Drugs of all kinds will seize their hold on men. Quietly, men's tears will flow in humble gratitude and longing for good. From that onward, a new spirit of sanctity will prevail upon her. Maitreya will evoke from us our own heart's love for justice, sharing, and peace, perennial jewels in the hearts of all people, Maitreya Master says. Maitreya and the Masters will so stimulate the consciousness of men and so exemplify the teaching they give that in a relatively short period, an enormous awakening will take place. Humanity's choice. We now face the choice to see the world as one and share, or witness the end of life on earth. The choice is in our hands, those who live in the world now. The Master assures us, Maitreya is emerging now to ensure that humanity's choice is wisely made. Have no fear. Maitreya already knows men's answer and is glad. Maitreya says, my coming will transform this world, but the major work of restoration must be done by you. I am the architect only of the plan. You, my friends, are the willing builders of the shining temple of truth. Thank you very much.